He tips a wooden pot of expensive-looking ballpoint pens towards her, and she takes one. It has the name of the firm printed on its barrel in gold script. Libby stares at it blankly for a moment. A brother. A sister. A suicide pact. She shakes her head, very slightly, then she clears her throat and says, "Thank you." Her fingers clutch the solid pen tightly. She can barely remember what her signature is supposed to look like. There are sticky plastic arrows attached to the edges of the pages she is expected to sign, pointing her in the right direction. The sound of the pen against the paper is almost excruciating. Mr. Royal watches benignly. He pushes his teacup across the desk a few inches, then back again. As she signs, she feels very strongly the import of this moment, this invisible turning in her life, taking her from here to there. On one side of this pile of papers is careful trolley trips round Lidl, 1 week away a year and an 11-year-old Vauxhall Corsa. On the other is the keys to an 8-bedroom house in Chelsea. "Good," he says, almost with a sigh of relief, as Libby passes him back the paperwork. Good, good, good. He flicks through it, casting his gaze over the spaces next to the plastic arrows, and then he looks up at Libby and smiles and says, "Right, I think it's time for you to take ownership of the keys." He pulls a small white jiffy bag from a drawer in his desk. The label on the packet says 16 Cheney Walk. Libby peers inside. 3 sets of keys. One with a metal key ring with the Jaguar logo on it. One with a brass key ring with a cigarette lighter built into it. And one set without a key ring. He gets to his feet. "Shall we go?" he says. "We can walk. It's only just around the corner." It's a violently hot summer's day. Libby can feel the heat of the paving stones through the soles of her slip-on canvas shoes, the glare of the midday sun burning through the thin film of cloud. They walk down a street filled with restaurants, all open to the pavement, fully laid-up tables set on special platforms and protected from the sun by vast rectangular parasols. Women in oversized sunglasses sit in 2s and 3s drinking wine. Some of them are as young as her, and she marvels at how they can afford to sit drinking wine in a posh restaurant on a Monday afternoon. "So," says Mr. Royal, "this could be your new neighborhood, I suppose, if you decided to live in the house." She shakes her head and issues a small nervous laugh. She can't form a proper reply. It's all just too silly. They pass tiny boutiques and antique shops filled with bronzes of foxes and bears, vast twinkling chandeliers the size of her bathtub. Then they are by the river, and Libby can smell it before she sees it, the wet dog tang of it. Wide boats slip by each other. A smaller boat with more rich people on it bubbles past, champagne in a silver cooler. A windswept golden retriever at the prow squinting against the sun. "It's just down here," says Mr. Royal. "Another minute or 2. Libby's thighs are chafing, and she wishes she'd worn shorts instead of a skirt. She can feel sweat being absorbed by the fabric of her bra where the cups meet in the middle, and she can tell that Mr. Royal, in his tight-fitting suit and shirt, is finding the heat unbearable too. "Here we are," he says, turning to face a terrace of 5 or 6 red brick houses, all of differing heights and widths. Libby guesses immediately which is hers, even before she sees the number 16 painted on the fanlight in a curly script. The house is 3 floors high, 4 windows wide. It is beautiful. But it is, just as she'd imagined it would be, boarded up. The chimney pots and gutters are overgrown with weeds. The house is an eyesore. But such a beautiful eyesore. Libby inhales sharply. "It's very big," she says. "Yes," says Mr. Royal. 12 rooms in total, not including the basement. The house stands well back from the pavement, behind ornate metal railings, and an overgrown parterre garden. There is a wrought iron canopy running towards the front door, and to the left is a full-size cannon set on a concrete block. "Would you like me to do the honours?" Mr. Royal indicates the padlock securing the board over the front door. Libby nods, and he unlocks it, hefting the hoarding away by looping his fingers around it. It comes away with a terrible groan, and behind it is a huge black door. He rubs his fingertips together and then goes through the keys methodically until he finds the one that opens the door. "When was the last time anyone was in this house?" she asks.
"Gosh, I suppose a few years back now when something flooded. We had to get in with the emergency plumbers, repair some damage, that sort of thing. Right, here we are."
They step into the hallway. The heat of outdoors, the hum of traffic, the echo of the river all fades away. It's cool in here. The floor is a soft dark parquet, scarred and dusty. A staircase ahead has a dark wood barley twist banister with an overflowing bowl of fruit carved into the top of the newel post. The doors are carved with linen folds and have ornate bronze handles. The walls are half-panelled, with more dark wood, and papered with tatty wine-red flock wallpaper, which has vast bald patches where the moths have eaten it away. The air is dense and full of dust motes. The only light comes from the fan lights above each doorway. Libby shudders. There's too much wood. Not enough light. Not enough air. She feels like she's in a coffin. "Can I?" She puts her hand to one of the doors.
"You can do whatever you like. It's your house."
The door opens up into a long rectangular room at the back of the house, with 4 windows overlooking a dense tangle of trees and bushes. More wooden panelling, wooden shutters, more parquet underfoot. "Where does that go?" she asks Mr. Royal, pointing at a narrow door built into the panelling.
"That," he replies, "is the door to the staff staircase. It leads directly to the smaller rooms on the attic floor, with another hidden door on the first floor landing. Very normal in these old houses, look like hamster cages."
They explore the house room by room, floor by floor. "What happened to all the furniture, all the fittings?" Libby asks.
"Long gone. The family sold everything to keep afloat. They all slept on mattresses, made their own clothes."
"So they were poor?"
"Yes," he says. "I suppose, in effect, they were poor."
Libby nods. She hadn't imagined her birth parents as poor.